today's world, everyone wants to show everything: what they eat, where they go, who they love, what they buy. But here's the truth: the more you share, the less they value. Because when people can predict everything about you, they stop being curious. And when curiosity dies, respect slowly fades away. So today, my friends, let's talk about something deeply powerful. Stay private. Let them wonder. My dear friends, have you ever noticed how peaceful it feels when you stop explaining yourself to everyone? When you simply live without the need to prove, defend, or justify your every move. See, peace isn't found in applause, it's found in silence. In today's world, everyone is in a race to announce their next step. I'm starting this business. I'm in love. I'm leaving my job, as if the world needs to know every detail of our private story. But the truth is, the more you share, the more you invite noise into your life. Silence, my friends, is not emptiness. Silence is strength. When you choose silence, you are choosing yourself over the chaos around you. Think of a tree. When it's growing its roots deep into the earth, it doesn't make a sound. It doesn't announce its growth, yet one day it stands tall and unshakable. That's how peace works. It grows quietly, underground, away from judgment, away from gossip, away from unnecessary attention. The more silent your progress, the more sacred your growth becomes. Because when your peace is public, people disturb it. They question it, they comment on it, they inject their opinions into your calm. And before you know it, your peace starts slipping away. But when your peace is private, it becomes your shield. It protects you from comparison. It protects you from envy. It protects you from distraction. Sometimes the best answer is no answer. The best reaction is no reaction. And the best protection is silence. When you learn to pause before posting, when you learn to keep your happiness between you and God, when you learn to move quietly, something magical happens. Your mind settles. Your heart feels lighter, and you begin to glow differently. Because real peace doesn't need to be shared. It just needs to be felt. So remember, my friends, the loudest person in the room is often the most empty, but the calmest one, the silent one. That's the person who has truly found themselves. Stay silent, stay centered, stay at peace, because your peace only grows in silence. Not everyone deserves access to you. Let that sink in deeply, because sometimes we open the door of our lives too wide, and not everyone who walks in is meant to stay. Some people come just to look around, some come to take what they can, and a few come to break what they don't understand. You see, your energy is sacred. Your heart, your emotions, your dreams, they're not meant for everyone's hands. When you give unlimited access to everyone, you start losing parts of yourself piece by piece. You begin adjusting, explaining, overgiving, and then wondering why you feel so drained. Life is not about how many people you allow in. It's about who you allow to stay. We must understand, not everyone who smiles at you is a friend. Not everyone who claps for you is happy for you. And not everyone who listens with love. Some listen with curiosity, others with judgment, and a few just to use what they know against you later. That's why setting emotional boundaries isn't selfish, it's survival. Protecting your space doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. When you start valuing your time, your energy, and your presence, you naturally start losing people who never valued them in the first place. And that's okay, because you're not here to be available to everyone. You're here to be at peace with yourself. There's power in saying, no, not everyone gets to know everything about me. There's wisdom in saying, I don't owe the world an explanation. The truth is, when you stop giving people easy access, you stop giving them easy control. Because the more they know, the more they can manipulate. But when your moves are private, your mind stays free. So don't feel guilty for being selective. Protecting your energy is not arrogance, it's alignment. You are not obligated to answer every message, attend every event, or share every detail. The right people will understand your silence, respect your distance, and still love you. The wrong ones will question your change, but remember, the ones who question your growth are usually the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries. You don't need everyone's approval. You just need your own peace. Sometimes you have to step back, lock the door, and remind yourself, not everyone deserves access to me. Because your life is not a public park, it's a private garden. Let only those who water your soul enter. The rest can admire from a distance. Mystery attracts respect. In a world where everyone is shouting to be seen, silence becomes magnetic. When people can't completely read you, they start to respect you. Because what they cannot easily access, they cannot easily judge. You see, mystery is not about hiding, it's about protecting your depth. When you keep every emotion, every thought, every plan exposed to the world, you give people the power to define you before you've even finished becoming who you are. But when you choose mystery, you choose dignity. You choose to let your life speak in echoes, not in announcements. Look at the most powerful people in the world. They're not loud. They don't explain their every move. They don't react to every rumor. They walk with calmness, they speak with purpose, and they reveal very little. Because they understand something most don't. Predictability kills respect. When people know everything about you, they stop valuing your presence. But when you keep a little mystery, they lean in closer. They wonder what you're thinking, what you're doing, how you're growing. And that curiosity keeps your energy powerful. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's self-respect. It's saying, I don't owe everyone an open book of my soul. It's knowing that not everything deserves an audience. When people can't figure you out, they start to focus on your actions, not your words. They don't judge you by your posts or your stories. They watch the quiet consistency in your life. And that, my friends, is where real respect is born. Think about it. Diamonds stay underground for years before they're discovered. The sun doesn't rush to rise, it just shows up, and the world stops to watch. Mystery creates reverence. When you're not constantly explaining yourself, people start paying attention to the small things you do. They begin to feel your power rather than hear about it. The problem is, we live in an age of oversharing. Everyone wants to be real, be open. And while authenticity is beautiful, exposure is not the same as authenticity. You can be genuine without being transparent. You can be real without being readable. True self-confidence doesn't come from telling everyone who you are. It comes from knowing who you are quietly. When you embrace mystery, you shift from needing attention to commanding respect. You don't chase people to understand you. You let them observe you. You don't tell them what you're doing. You let your results do the talking. The quiet ones often move the loudest mountains. And there's something peaceful about not being fully understood. Because when they can't label you, they can't limit you. When they can't predict you, they can't control you. Your mystery becomes your armor. Your silence becomes your power. So, my friends, don't fear being misunderstood. Don't rush to explain your every step. Let them wonder. Let them ask questions. Let them guess. The right ones will respect your silence. The wrong ones will be uncomfortable by it. And that's how you'll know who truly values your presence. Stay mysterious, not because you want to impress, but because you want to preserve. Preserve your peace. Preserve your power. Preserve your privacy. And remember, when people can't read your story, they start respecting your character. Protect your dreams until they're real. Because not every seed deserves to be shown before it takes root. Some things grow stronger in the dark. Some dreams need silence, not spotlight. You see, we live in a world where people love to talk about what they're going to do. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to write this book. I'm going to change my life. And while there's nothing wrong with dreaming big, the mistake is announcing it too early. Because when you speak too soon, you release the energy that should have gone into building. There's a quiet spiritual truth. Energy leaks through words. Every time you tell someone your plans, your brain releases the same chemicals as if you've already achieved them. That's why people lose motivation after they talk too much about their goals. They've already felt the reward before doing the work. My friends, dreams are fragile in their early stages, just like a newborn baby, beautiful, pure, but vulnerable. And when you expose your dreams too soon, the world doesn't always protect them. Some people will bless them, but others will poison them. Some will clap for you, others will laugh quietly behind you. Some will support you, and some will secretly hope you fail, just so they can feel comfortable with their own inaction. So, learn to build in silence. Let your actions be louder than your announcements. Let your progress be quieter than your pride. When you're working on something sacred, whether it's healing, learning, creating, or growing, keep it to yourself until it's strong enough to stand. Imagine a farmer. He doesn't dig up his seed every day to show others it's growing. He waters it quietly. He trusts the process. And one day, everyone sees the fruit. That's how your dream should be nurtured. With patience, with faith, and with silence. People often ask, but what if no one knows what I'm doing? And I say, exactly. That's when you're truly powerful. Because real power doesn't need witnesses. It needs discipline. The less people know, the less pressure you feel. The less you explain, the more energy you have to actually do. Sometimes, the most dangerous thing you can do is expose your dreams to small-minded people. Because their words can plant doubt where faith once lived. They'll tell you it's too hard, too late, too risky. Not because they know better, but because they fear what you might become if you succeed. Protect your dreams like treasures. Don't let anyone hold them with dirty hands. Not everyone deserves to hear what's next for you. Not everyone deserves to witness your process. Some people only deserve to see your results. And when that day comes, when your dream finally blossoms into reality, you won't need to explain how it happened. The world will see it. They'll see the glow in your eyes. They'll see the peace in your heart. And they'll whisper, when did this happen? And you'll smile because you know it didn't happen overnight. It happened in silence, in solitude, in faith. So remember, not everything sacred should be shared. Some things grow best when hidden. Protect your dream until it's strong enough to face the world, until it no longer needs your words to defend it, because your reality will speak louder than your intentions ever could. Because dreams don't need announcements. They need nurturing. And when you protect your dreams until they're real, the world will meet them not as plans, but as miracles. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, there's something deeply powerful about the one who chooses not to speak. The one who knows, but doesn't correct. The one who sees, but doesn't react. The one who feels, but doesn't explode. Because silence, my friends, is not the absence of words, it's the presence of understanding. Sometimes, the most powerful person in the room is the quiet one. The one who doesn't rush to argue. The one who doesn't try to prove a point. The one who simply smiles because they've outgrown the need to be right all the time. They've realized that peace is better than victory. You see, when someone hurts you, your first impulse might be to respond, to explain, to defend yourself. But often silence is the louder response, because silence says, I value my peace more than your opinion. And that's not weakness. That's emotional maturity. There's a reason why wise people speak less. They've learned that most conversations are not about truth. They're about ego. People don't always want to understand, they just want to win. So why waste your energy trying to explain yourself to someone who's already decided not to understand you? You don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to prove your worth through words, because silence, it protects your energy, it protects your mind, it protects your peace. When you stay silent, people may underestimate you. Let them. Because silence is the softest disguise of strength. The calmest person often has the deepest wisdom, the strongest mind, and the most controlled heart. And you know what's beautiful? When someone expects you to react, to scream, to argue, to defend, and instead, you smile and stay silent, that's when you've mastered yourself. Silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've chosen not to let their chaos disturb your calm. There's an old saying, don't wrestle with pigs, you'll both get dirty, and the pig likes it. Some people argue just to drain you. They twist your words, they provoke your emotions, they test your patience. And when you remain silent, they lose control. Because they can't play the game if you don't show up. Silence is not passive. It's an active choice. A decision to protect your energy instead of wasting it. It's saying, my peace is too precious to be spent on noise. And sometimes silence speaks in ways words never could. Your silence tells them, I've grown past this. Your silence tells them, I see your intention, but I choose peace. Your silence tells them, you can't shake me anymore. But let me be clear, silence is not about running away. It's about rising above. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about addressing them from a place of calm clarity rather than emotional chaos. True strength isn't found in how loudly you speak. It's found in how gracefully you stay calm. When you stop explaining, stop defending, stop over talking, you'll start feeling an incredible sense of power within. Because silence removes confusion, it brings perspective, it helps you listen, not just to others, but to yourself, to your intuition, to that quiet voice inside that always knows the truth. So next time someone misunderstands you, stay silent. Next time someone gossips about you, stay silent. Next time life tempts you to react out of anger, breathe and stay silent. Because sometimes silence is not weakness. It's the language of strength. It's the shield of the wise and the peace of the mature. Remember, storms make noise, but the sun rises in silence. You don't have to shout to shine. You just have to know who you are and stay quiet enough to let your peace do the talking. A private life creates a powerful mind. It's one of life's quietest truths. The less noise around you, the more clarity within you. When you stop sharing everything, when you stop explaining every move, something shifts. Your focus sharpens. Your energy deepens. You stop living for the eyes of others and start living for the peace of your own soul. Because, my friends, every time you share a piece of your private life, you invite a piece of the world into your mind. And the more the world enters, the less space you have for yourself. That's why so many people today feel mentally exhausted. Not because life is too hard, but because they've left no boundaries between what's theirs and what belongs to everyone else. A private life doesn't mean a lonely life. It means a life where you choose who gets access, and more importantly, who doesn't. It's not about isolation, it's about intention. It's saying, I choose peace over performance. I choose depth over display. You see, when your life becomes public, your mind starts performing. You begin to think in terms of how things look rather than how things feel. You make decisions not because they're right for you, but because they'll impress someone watching. And slowly you lose yourself trying to live up to an image you never needed to create. But when your life is private, your mind becomes free. You make choices quietly, guided by your inner voice, not by opinions, not by likes, not by trends. You start listening to yourself again. You begin to notice how peace feels better than attention, how solitude feels better than validation. A private life teaches you one of the greatest powers: detachment. You stop needing to be seen to feel significant. You stop needing approval to feel valuable. You stop reacting to every comment, every rumor, every misunderstanding. Because when your life is private, people can assume whatever they want, and you no longer feel the need to correct them. There's beauty in being misunderstood, because it means you're not explaining everything anymore. You're living in a frequency that only a few will truly understand. And that's perfectly fine. The more private your life becomes, the fewer people you need to impress, and the lighter your heart feels. You begin to realize that peace doesn't come from more followers. It comes from fewer distractions. Success doesn't come from visibility, it comes from discipline. Happiness doesn't come from people knowing your story, it comes from you knowing your truth. When your life is private, your thoughts grow louder, your creativity awakens, your focus returns, because now your energy is contained, not scattered. You're not spending your mind worrying about what people think. You're spending it building the life you love. A powerful mind isn't built through exposure. It's built through containment, through silence, through stillness, through sacred solitude. That's why the most successful and peaceful souls are often the most private ones. They don't announce their next step, they just take it. They don't post every joy, they feel it. They don't seek approval, they live in alignment. The more private your life, the stronger your mind becomes. Because privacy is like armor. It shields your focus, your emotions, your plans from the chaos of the outside world, and inside that armor, your mind thrives. You start to see clearly who's real and who's curious. You learn that not everyone clapping is your friend, and not everyone silent is your enemy. You begin to trust yourself more than the noise around you. So protect your privacy like you protect your peace. You don't owe the world your every moment. You owe yourself your sanity. Be private, be calm, be intentional, because the less they know about you, the less they can disturb you. And the less they can disturb you, the more powerful your mind becomes. Let your actions be your voice, because words are everywhere, But truth, my friends, is rarely spoken, it's shown. Anyone can say they're kind, honest, disciplined, or spiritual, but only your behavior, not your bio, reveals who you truly are. We live in an age where people talk more than they do. They talk about changing, talk about growing, talk about healing, but talk has never built a bridge, healed a wound, or changed a life. Actions have. And the most beautiful souls I've ever met, they don't announce who they are. They simply show up differently. They speak less, do more. They promise less, deliver more. They expect less, contribute more. When your actions become your language, you no longer need to explain your intentions, because the world feels your truth. It sees your consistency. It witnesses your effort. And eventually, even those who doubted you go quiet. You see noise fades, but results echo. When you talk too much about what you're going to do, people lose interest. But when you move in silence, when you build quietly, when you let your work speak, the same people who ignored you will one day whisper, "How did they do it?" And that's the power of silent progress. It surprises everyone, because while they were busy talking, you were busy doing. Let me tell you something important. You never need to convince anyone of your worth. You never need to explain your vision, defend your choices, or justify your silence. Just do the work. Consistency will silence critics faster than any explanation ever could. When you let your actions speak, something magical happens. People start feeling your presence instead of hearing your opinions. They stop focusing on your words and start respecting your discipline. They stop asking what you're planning and start admiring what you've already done. There's a quiet dignity in that, because talk feeds the ego, but action feeds the soul. Every great soul in history knew this truth. The Buddha didn't need to say, "I am peaceful." People felt his peace. Mother Teresa didn't need to announce her compassion. The world saw it. The greatest leaders didn't demand respect. They earned it quietly through service and integrity. The world doesn't need more talkers. It needs more doers. More people who plant trees, knowing they'll never sit in their shade. More people who help others without recording it. More people who chase excellence, not applause. So, stop saying, "I'll prove them wrong." Just live in such a way that they have nothing left to say. Stop trying to convince people of your change. Just change. Let time and consistency do the talking. They never lie. You don't need to tell people your next move. Your results will make the announcement. You don't need to brag about your character. Your patience will reveal it. You don't need to fight for attention. Your discipline will draw it. Every day, let your effort speak in silence. Because the loudest voice in any room is not the one that shouts, it's the one that shows. And when you finally arrive, when you've built what they said was impossible, don't scream, "I told you so." Smile, stay humble, keep moving. Because even then, your silence will be more powerful than their noise. Remember, actions don't just prove who you are, they become who you are. So let your kindness speak without words. Let your growth be seen without posts. Let your integrity shine without performance. And one day, the world will look at you, not because you said a lot, but because you did a lot. Because true power doesn't need to be declared. It's felt, it's seen, it's lived. So stay quiet, stay grounded, and let your actions forever be your voice. Privacy protects relationships. In a world that shares everything, love, fights, heartbreaks, and even apologies, we've forgotten that not everything sacred should be seen. The most beautiful relationships don't live online, They live in between two hearts. They don't need an audience, they need understanding. You see, when two people are truly connected, they don't need validation from others. They don't need to post every hug, every trip, every word of affection. Because their love is not a performance. It's a prayer, silent, deep, and sacred. The moment love becomes public property, it starts to lose its purity. Because once people have access to your relationship, they also get access to your peace. When you share too much, you invite too many voices, and every voice carries energy, opinions, judgments, comparisons, envy. Soon, the love that once felt light begins to feel heavy. Because now, instead of being two people growing together, it becomes two people performing for a crowd. Privacy doesn't mean secrecy. It means safety. It's not about hiding your love. It's about protecting its energy. When something is beautiful, you shield it from the noise. Just like you don't expose a newborn to the world too early, you don't expose your relationship to unnecessary eyes before it's strong enough to handle the world's opinions. People will always have something to say. Why is she with him? Why didn't they post together? Are they fighting? And here's the truth. You owe no one an explanation. The more you feed people with updates, the more they feel entitled to your story. And one day, when things get tough, the same audience that once clapped for you will gossip about you. So choose privacy, not performance. Protect your bond like it's sacred, because it is. Love grows best in quiet places. When it's not being watched, it's being nurtured. When no one's measuring it, it starts to mature. Think about it. Even the most beautiful flowers bloom silently. The sun doesn't announce it. The rain doesn't post about it. They just do their part quietly, and nature witnesses the miracle. That's how true love works. It doesn't need the words' applause. It just needs two people willing to protect what they have from the world's noise. Every relationship goes through moments of struggle, misunderstanding, and growth. But when your relationship is private, those moments remain safe. You can work through them with dignity, without interference. Because the world doesn't need to see your wounds. It only needs to feel your warmth. In today's culture, people post relationship goals, matching outfits, fancy trips, long captions about love. But let me tell you something. Real relationships aren't built on filters. They're built on forgiveness. They're not about how good you look together in pictures, but how well you stand together when life gets hard. When your love is private, it's peaceful. You start to appreciate the small things, the late night talks, the laughter, the silent support, the comfort of knowing someone understands you even when you're quiet. You stop comparing your story with anyone else's because you realize that love isn't a race to show off, it's a journey to grow deeper. Privacy builds trust because it tells your partner, what we have is ours. I don't need the world to validate it. It shows maturity, it shows commitment, it shows respect. And that kind of relationship doesn't just survive, it thrives. So don't announce everything. Don't seek likes for love. Don't measure connection by comments. Keep some moments just between you and them. The world doesn't need to know when you're happy or when you're healing. When love is quiet, it's stronger. When it's sacred, it's safer. When it's private, it's real. Because what grows in silence lasts, and what you protect from noises stays pure.